Before the video continues, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, ring the bell, and drop a comment. The algorithm loves it. Also make sure to follow me on Twitch. I'm live every weekend, Friday through Sunday, from 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. UTC+1. And don't forget to follow me on my social media channels too. Now back to the video. Hi guys and welcome back on my channel. So today we react on Geography Now, Deutschland, from the channel Geography Now. So I'm native German, so ich verstehe, was man hier sagt, oder besser gesagt, ich weiß so manches hier über Deutschland, weil ich halt Deutscher bin. And in this case, I will say, I confirm what you say or disconfirm, but because it's geography and I was not good in geography, by the way, let's see what we heard from him.
All right. Lederhosen, Schnitzel, beer, bratwurst, order, bread and beer, complicated history beer, no humor, EDM, and gummy bears that will...
What? We Germans have no humor? I didn't know
give you
this.
Diarrhea, but it's like worth it. Ugh, those are such horrible stereotypes that every German is so sick and tired of hearing.
I'm fucking sick about being Bavaria, by the way.
Want a gummy bear?
I hate Bavaria.
It's time to learn geography.
No! Hey everyone, I'm your host Barbie. So we've conquered Belgium's castle, jumped through Denmark's lagoon, danced through France's forest, and now we've made it to the
France? I will go march
final
to
boss
France.
of the EU, Kingpin Germany. Level 1, begin. Ah, you know why I'm smiling. Yep, Germany has a lot of territorial anomalies. We'll get into that in a little bit, but first...
And some historical ambivalent people with some bad taste of mustache,
Germany is located in central Western Europe, bordered by 9 other countries. Don't forget little Luxembourg, with small coast.
Yeah? So, occupied.
On the North and Baltic Seas, which they own about 50 small islands. Now, Germany, like the US, is a federal republic which has 16 smaller states, or Bundesländer, each with its own constitution.
Good pronouncing. It's really pronounced Bundesländer. Länder. But for itself, it's good pronounced. And yeah.
3 of which are cities, the capital Berlin, Hamburg, and Bremen, which
my hometown, Bremen. So, welcome to the Northern Sea here.
Cities, including Bremerhaven on the coast, but they kind of act like...
It's an enclave of Bremen with some own government, but counts to Bremen.
Fun side note, Lower Saxony is actually geographically situated further north than regular Saxony. Now let's jump into the fun stuff. Now, we already discussed the Jungholz Quadrupoint and the Vennbahn railway enclaves with Belgium and Austria. However, there's a few more. The entire town of Bussingen am Hochrhein is surrounded by Switzerland, whereas part of the...
What? The Swiss? Around Germany? I was here in this country.
Stans is cut off by the Rhine River and surrounded by Switzerland. However, immediately across the river, a small patch of empty land on the German side actually belongs to Switzerland. Finally, they split the island of Usedom with Poland.
I didn't know this.
Germany is interesting because every state in the country has its own distinct culture, dialect, history, food, traditions. I mean, Bavarians...
Mostly. And I hate Bavarians.
Different from Schleswig-Holsteiners. Mecklenburg-Vorpommern will be different from Saarland. This all...
I'm here again, sorry for this small cut. I put the wrong button. Take the wrong button.
Different from Schleswig-Holsteiners. Mecklenburg-Vorpommern will be different from Saarland. This all has to do with...
Yeah. By the way, the Saarland is the German equivalent of Alabama. And every now who's on the internet knows what I mean.
History. Basically, in the quickest way I can summarize this, Germanic tribes, Roman wars, Charlemagne, 3 kingdoms, this guy marries an Italian, creating a whole new mess called the Holy Roman Empire.
The Holy Roman Empire. I wish Germany was this kind of big again. But I don't do much in other countries again. We in Germany lose always 2 world wars. The next world war can lose America or Russia. One of them can lose the 3rd World War. in
made
my
up of
opinion.
300 smaller separate kingdoms, states, and dukedoms,
I don't
which
really
had
got
nothing to do
politics.
with Romans. Teutonic Knights, Brandenburgs became Prussia, Habsburgs became
Mm-hmm.
Austrians, Lithuanians and Poles made their own thing, whereas the Hungarians joined the Austrians.
Mm-hmm.
Wars,
War of
battles. Napoleon
war.
comes over and messes everything up, and finally,
Napoleon, yeah, that was something, if I remember my history lessons right, there was something with
German
Napoleon.
nationalism surges, and in 1871, Otto von Bismarck creates the first
Yeah, the German Kaiser. For the German Kaiser, right?
German unified state. And then they're all like, oh dang, we came late to this game. We gotta scramble for some colonies. And that's how all of these countries at one point spoke German. Oh, and also keep in mind, like 300 years before this, a German banking company obtained colonial rights to Venezuela for like 20 years. They were looking for the lost city of El Dorado. So technically, you can kind of say Germans colonized the Americas, but it wasn't like a nationalized conquest thing. Fast forward even more, and then you get World War I, the monarchy.
Oh, yeah, nothing happened there. Nothing happened there. Nothing important.
Treaty of Versailles, they lose land. Nazis come in. World War
Just
II.
kidding.
Germany splits in two for about 40 years. And then finally, we get the Germany we have today. East Germany, consisting of these states, is today.
And, yeah, this records the sound technically because everything was behind there was a little bit, let's call it different. I mean, there was red communists behind there, and there are communists, so communists are not for Germany. If you communists, I don't give a fuck actually, but let me make my jokes. I'm German, and I will prove that we are funny. Please.
It's still quite different from the rest of Germany as it was first occupied and influenced by the Soviet Union. They are generally not as well off economically as the rest of the country, as you can still.
Because communism. Yeah. Do you see this? The standard Russian building complex of sheep living rooms, or what's called sheep homes for the poor mass of the country and the DDR, and yeah, the Soviet building boat style. You smell the smoke. You smell the poor guys.
Soviet-style buildings sprawled throughout the regions. In fact, the city of Berlin was split in half, and the west side was actually an enclave of West Germany, only accessible by train and highway. You can even see from a satellite image.
Yeah, this is true too. And
East Berlin still uses the yellowish tinted sulfur vapor light bulbs, whereas the West still uses fluorescent and mercury arc white tinted light bulbs. Now the funny thing is, although Berlin is the largest city in Germany, the busiest airports are actually Frankfurt, Munich, Dusseldorf, with Berlin Tegel ranking at number 4. Otherwise,
yeah, there was something
some top
like
notable
this.
landmarks and spots would be the Brandenburg Gate, the Valhalla, Cologne Cathedral, the Ulminster Church, the tallest in the world, the Berlin Victory Column, and hundreds of castles all over. The most notable one probably being Neuschwanstein, the concept behind.
Okay, this is maybe the famous castle in Germany, but this stands in Bavaria. In my opinion, Bavaria isn't a part of Germany, so if you think Germans are all Bavarians, Bavaria is not a fucking part of Germany. Reminds it.
Behind Disney's Cinderella Castle. Germany also has over 400 zoos, more than any other country in the world. And of course, everybody knows about the Autobahn, the highway.
The Autobahn, yeah. So, my top speed was 210 in Port Focus. Walk from Pianview is a car sharing company, so I drive with this car for a while ago. Top speed 210 if I'm right. Was fun.
Which, if you see this sign, it means there's no speed limit, and it's like that for.
Technically, yeah, there's still some German Autobahn lesson. Technically, there's some speed limit, but we have the Richtgeschwindigkeit. This means speed of exception or something like this. I cannot translate this right, but something like this. So you can drive 130 kilometers per hour without have some fundamental issues if you will have a collision. But if you over 130 kilometers, you don't insure anymore, so you don't have no insurance, and then you're self-responsible for your actions. So yeah, I make it too, but there are some major roads. I oversimplify it here now, but it's roads technically.
And no wonder, considering how vast and wide those cultivated countrysides can get. Time for level 2.
Level
think of
2?
it this way. In Germany, the more down you go, the more up you move. Basically, Germany lies on the Atlantic shelf in the north that starts with the mudflats in the North Sea. Seriously.
Yeah. Oh, I was there, and if you go to Cuxhaven, Bremerhaven, or Dune, not like the movie Dune, I call this small village or small town or something like this. You can go with some. What is the word? Let's look on what the fuck is my smartphone? Where to say, please? There's my smartphone. What you call it? Right now. You can go with the horse-drawn carriage to this island, technically, and it's fun. It's fun to go there with this. It's a fun, small,
Dude, this
experience.
island right here is accessible only for a few hours by foot until the tide comes and floods everything. Then everything just kind of creeps up into the Alps in the south by Bavaria and Baden-Württemberg, with the highest mountain, Zugspitze, located right along the border with Austria. Kind of like France, Germany is filled with a vast irrigating network of rivers like the Spree, Elbe, Weser, Rhine, and of course the mighty Danube.
Weser. Not Weser, Weser, with a long E. Not I.
Here. About a third of the land is arable and another third is woodland, and after a millennia of civilization, Germans have cultivated the crap out of their country. Most agriculture, of course, happens in the North Flat Plains and the central regions of the country, which is, by the way, kind of like Europe's tornado alley. Due to its position sandwiched between the Arctic blasts of Scandinavia and the moist, warm jet streams of the Mediterranean below, Germany can be an atmospheric war zone in the summer. There are more tornadoes on
this is
average in Germany
sadly
than any
true.
other country in Europe. Speaking of flat farmland, Germany is the world's largest rye and hop producer. Germans abso-freaking-lutely love their bread. There are over 300.
Yeah, this is true. This is so true. We have Vollkornbrot, Schwarzbrot, Weißbrot, Meerkornbrot, Ciabatta. Even this is more an Italian kind of bread, but more than we have auch Brötchen. These are technically only small breads.
Different kinds of bread in the country, more types than any other country in the world, and almost every meal incorporates some kind of slice or small bun or Brötchen of bread. Hast du gluten-free?
Nein!
Germans are heavy meat eaters, specifically in pork. They basically know every possible way to cook a pig. Over 50 different types of sausage exist alongside schnitzels, rouladen, sauerbraten, Schweinsachse, and at a big party.
By the way, if you heard Wiener Schnitzel, this is from Austria, not from Germany, because Wien is a capital state of Austria, not Germany.
Beer reigns supreme all over as the third largest consumers of beer after the Czech Republic. Even their president.
Yep. And my dear Americans, if you buy beer, don't buy this Budweiser beer, what you drink. Buy only, and I mean only German beer. Then you have the best beer experience of the world.
With public intoxication, and Austria. Germany is world-renowned for their beer, which, by the way, follows the Reinheitsgebot rule, in which they are only allowed to use water, hops, malt, and sometimes yeast. Nonetheless, about 30.
Yeah, this is true too. And I love my pills, my
1,800
baked
breweries
pills.
exist, pumping out over 5,000 brands. The oldest continuously existing brewery in the world, started by Benedictine monks in 1040 AD, can be found here. Germany takes the environment very seriously, and for the past 2 decades has been going on a major green revolution. As of today, they have
Yeah, this is true. So even I don't fucking care about the
the largest
environment.
installed solar power capacity, and green infrastructure practices like home installed turbines and solar panels have seen a huge surge in the past 10 years. Forests dominate the southern regions where the landscape
Yeah, this have changed
Gets
because from read this video here, let's look. It's from for 8 years, so it means from 2000. Okay, we have 2025 now. 2017. So much stuff changed. So with the environment is still the same. It's too complicated to explain, but this is the
and
thing.
mountainous, the most famous one being the Black Forest or the Schwarzwald in Baden-Württemberg. Deer,
Schwarzwald,
bears, boar,
yeah.
foxes, badgers, and the national animal, the eagle, can be found
Learn rules. Don't forget the
thriving in these
rules.
parts. Nonetheless, economically, Germany is known mostly for their exceptional engineering and industry production. Companies we've all heard of like
Yeah.
Volkswagen, BMW, Mercedes-Benz, Porsche, Audi, Telekom, Nivea,
Not Porsche, Porsche, not Porsche. Pronounce the E, please. Pronounce the E.
DHL, Bosch, Adidas!
By the way, DHL is an American company, by the way. It's not in German.
Puma! Adidas! Puma! Yeah, it's kind of like the whole Biscoito Bolacha thing from Brazil. Remember? Well, we have mudflats, tornadoes, pork, beer, mountains. All that's missing is people. Level 3.
Oh no, I hate people. I hate people. Please not.
Fun little side
I
note,
hate
in
people.
Germany, this is 3, not this. Now, if the EU was a family, Germany would kind of be like the dad who
Yeah.
got out of rehab, reconciled with his wife and kids, and is taking his new life very seriously as he is haunted by the demons of his past every day. First of all, the country has about 82 million people and is the most populated in the EU, second most in Europe after Russia, and has the
Yeah.
4th largest nominal GDP in the world. About 80% of the country identifies as ethnically German, 12% other Europeans, mostly Polish, Italian, Dutch, and so on. Turks make up about 3.5%, Asians at 2%, and the rest are made up of other groups like Africans and Americans. Also, they use the euro, they
Yeah.
use the C and F.
Yeah, this is the topic for itself. I don't go on this there. And if you're American, better don't pee in our electricity stuff because we don't have 110 volts in the power doses or what's called. I don't fucking know what it means in English at the moment. Because if you pee in there, or will have sex with these doses, you're gonna be probably killed because we have 230 or 40 volt. So don't do it.
Outlets, and they drive on the right side of the road. Germany is without a doubt a global powerhouse. It is the strongest economy in the EU and makes up about 16% of the Union's population. It's the 3rd largest exporter and importer of goods in the world. After the United States, Germany is also the 2nd most popular global migration destination. Germany experiences a high standard of living, tuition-free universities, if you get accepted that is, a mostly government-subsidized universal healthcare system, about a quarter is still
Yeah.
privatized, and state pension for retirement at age 65. Now when it comes to language, things get a little
Yeah, this video said the old retirement with 65 gets over. Now it's around 70, 71, so...
tricky. Each state kind of has their own type of German. However, to get by, most Germans learn how to speak Hochdeutsch.
Except from Bavaria, but ja, ich spreche meistens Hochdeutsch, weil ich halt auch im Norden lebe. So I can speak a little bit Platt German, so that means Plattdeutsch. Or I can understand a little bit is a small mix up between German and English, so but mostly we speak Hochdeutsch.
Or
Yeah.
High German, which is the standard dialect. The European Charter, however, protects the minority languages of Frisian, Danish, Romani, Sorbian, which is like a Slavic-based language used along the Czech-Polish border, and Plattdeutsch, or Low German, which has similarities to Dutch and is typically used by the Amish and Mennonite communities across the world. In terms of regional distinctions, though, Germany is kind of divided into 5 cultural areas: Rhineland, East and Mitteldeutschland, Norddeutschland, Baden-Württemberg, and Bavaria. Rhineland is on the west side and has a culture somewhat more influenced by France, Protestants, more Catholics. Carnival celebrations are huge out here. East and Middle Germany was the part that used to be its own country for 40 years as it was influenced by the Soviets. Sorbians can also be found here too. Northern Germany has a coastal sea culture that identifies closer with Denmark and the Netherlands. They're
Yep, this is true. By the way, if you were on the cross border between Germany and Netherlands, the most Netherlands can understand and speak German
also
there.
known for being kind of quiet and reserved. Baden-Württemberg has an interesting Swabian culture where they speak a dialect so thick that only about 40% of it is intelligible to other Germans. And then you have Bavaria, which is where the Americanized, perpetuated stereotypes about Germany.
Yep, this is so. Because I don't fucking know. Bavaria thinks they have the largest dick in Germany, but it's not. It's not true. So if you say little the Dundler and Switzer are German, and this is only the true German, so please go fuck
yourself. They came from with Lederhosen, Dirndls, half-timber, beer houses, and cuckoo clocks. For the record, Germans are sick of those stereotypes. It's like saying all Americans are cowboys with guns and horses.
The part with guns should be the real thing. So not every American is in cowboy, but most of Americans have some shotguns or pistols or an arsenal. This is compared to the American military.
Speaking of stereotypes,
like
some of the stereotypes in Germany include things like Saxons being very indecisive, Berliners are always bragging about themselves, Swabians are stingy, Bavarians drink too much, Hessians talk too much, Holsteiners don't talk enough, and so on. Words differ from regions.
So we in Northern Germany here, we really don't like talk too much.
For example, in High German, you would say Auf Wiedersehen, but in Bavarian, you would say Fiat die Gott. In Kölsch, you would say Tschüss, and in Rhineland, you might
Tschüss we say in Northern Germany, so too, so it's not complete right.
Ayus. And there's so many compound words that get really long and complicated, like Rindfleischetikettierungsüberwachungsaufgaben.
Rindfleischetikettierungsüberwachungsaufgabenübertragungsgesetz. It's easy and it's simple. Learn that.
This is because many words are merkwürdig, or ambiguous words, that are kind of elongated to give off an extensive meaning. Germans have very vivid imaginations and make up words for everything. Like my...
Yeah, we have some nice characters. So, like, if you are stuck on your farm, you Caesar come there and put your thumbs out and cut your thumbs up. Nice German fairy tale. So
Backpfeifengesicht. Not this time. By the way, for the record, this letter makes a double S sound. However, spelling.
Set, yeah, it's a little bit complicated. So it's not like the SS, because this has a double meaning in Germany with some PTSD memories, and I think who is good in history knows what I mean with the SS. Even we have the SS in some words, but not with the meaning with the Schutzstaffel.
Reformers have tried to decrease the usage of this letter in recent years, which has led to some protests. Germans also love dubbing everything from foreign media into German. Some like this, some don't, but either way, it's here to stay. About 60% of...
Yeah, this is true. Most movies, so American movies, for example, most of them get dubbed, and they are actually pretty good, even if they are left from the original sound and experience. The overall dub is very good.
Identifies at least nominally as Christians, split between Protestants and Catholics. Germany was even the birthplace of the Protestant Reformation, split from the Catholic Church by Martin Luther. Otherwise, the rest are mostly agnostic or irreligious, with a noticeable community of Muslims, mostly from the huge Turkish and Middle Eastern communities at about 5%, as well as a few Jews, Buddhists, and Hindus rounding up the remainder 1%.
Yeah, with the Jews, we have their complicated history, thanks to an Austrian with a bad mustache. Oops.
To kind of get a feel of what it's like to be German, you kind of have to understand where they've come from. After World War II, they kind of had a lot of work to do. However, it wasn't until the mid-50s and early 60s that the Wirtschaftswunder, or economic wonder, happened, to which almost everybody got to work. Basically, this guy envisioned and implemented a social market economy combined with free market capitalism alongside socialist policies that established fair competition in a welfare state.
Yeah, so we are a social state, but focus on capitalism. This is right too. So we have some health insurance, 30 days of year vacation, 6 week for sick days, 6 weeks for a weekday sick days. So if you wanna be sick, you're gonna be paid normally for 6 to 8 weeks.
GDP increased by 80%, investments by 120%, labor forces were utilized to the maximum. Things started to get better. In Germany, all children are corralled into general public schools until age 10, when they are given the option to enroll in 3 different types of middle schools. Gymnasium.
Yeah, so the highest class of the school for the elites. Elite is a little bit complicated, but there are mostly the richest who goes to politics and economy and business stuff.
Geared towards focusing on higher linguistic, mathematic, and science fields for universities. Realschule, a middle ground type of school, and Hauptschule.
Yeah, there was I. So if you go to Hauptschule, Neukölln, Hauptschule Neukölln. So if you came from there, you can say if you have your if you finish the school, you're gonna be maybe the dude who carries the trash from the bottom.
A school that is geared towards helping kids that seem to show promise in specific vocation or trades. Germany also has the largest music market.
Yeah, so I can talk a little bit from my experience. So if you go to the Hauptschule, there are mostly some radical dudes there, and you basically learn nothing there and have no education high. So you can, if you finish the Hauptschule, you basically
in the EU and the third in the world after the US and Japan. They love preserving their heritage and culture through music and art. In fact, there are around 130 national orchestras, mostly supported by public money, and artists get a 50% reduction in health insurance through a special type of offer in the legal system. One thing that still kind of supposedly maintains itself in Germany is the mindset of Vergangenheitsbewältigung.
Yeah, it's the Austrian with the bad mustache.
Which kind of translates to a lingering sense of guilt from the past. Germans have reportedly some of the lowest levels of national pride.
Yeah, and this is something what I criticize on my own country because I'm proud to be German, and now I'm not a fucking Nazi if you see me like this. Now, Nazis are some fucking assholes who lower our reputation here in Germany. But I say only arseless place. If you see we Germans are going up there, this isn't funny anymore because we occupy there literally everything. Like for 93 with France.
Unless if you're at a soccer game, chances are you will almost never see anyone holding a German flag or waving it in any kind of patriotic setting. It's weird, but it's kind of how things are.
You monster!
They've made great strides to move on from the past.
Yeah.
Nazi flags and Mein Kampf are incredibly illegal items to own.
Yeah, and for good fucking reasons. So if you have this year or go out with this swastika year, you can go to prison for around 5 years and get and have the and are registered in the system as a portrait, which means basically your some asshole who loves the Holocaust. And if you do that, go fuck yourself,
in
please.
Germany, and they even have a rule, the Volksverhetzung, which basically says you cannot talk trash by denying the past atrocities. Some people say this infringes on free speech, others say
This
it's
is
good
what I
because
mean.
it solidifies truth. Otherwise, some notable Germans throughout history include Charlemagne, although he was a Frank, but I guess it kind of counts. Albrecht, Dürer, David Friedrich, Gutenberg, Bach, Beethoven, Karl Benz, Albert Einstein, although Americans would like to claim that he moved to the US and became an American, Johannes Kepler, Johann
That she is gonna, but Einstein gonna be born here in Germany. So yeah, he was German with the American here with an American
Wolfgang von
passport
Goethe,
later.
Friedrich Schiller, Michael
And to be fair, Einstein was Jewish, and he gonna be hunting by the Nazi regime in the time there, so no wondering why he flee to the
Shoemaker,
USA.
Alex von Humboldt, and of course Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels co-founded Marxism. But one thing Germans do best would have to be
Something what Americans didn't like, Marxism or
diplomacy.
communism.
To this day, the German passport holds the most visa-free nations out of any other country in the world, just beating Sweden. Therefore, you can kind of conclude that Germany kind of knows how to relate to people. Let's find out how in the final round, level 4. Germany knows how to make friends. They have over 220 diplomatic missions abroad and over 350 honorary consuls and have an incredibly high position of authority in the EU. Their closest African friend would probably be Namibia. As a former German colony way back in the 19th century, Namibia held on relations, and to this day, German is still a recognized language in Namibia. Germans have been supporting and sharing ties both economically and ideologically for over a century. India and South Korea are really close friends in Asia. India supported both East and West Germany during the Cold War, and after reunification, they were like, woohoo! Even better! And Germany is to South Korea what Japan is to France. They love to piggyback off of each other's ideas and cultures, especially in the automotive industry. Many South Koreans were sent to Germany after the Korean War to work abroad and study, and Germans have been growing in fascination with visiting South Korea. The US is probably the closest ally outside of the EU. About 30% of Americans claim German heritage. And
yeah, at the moment not, but you see this video is had some part. It's a little bit older, so I can agree with that.
The Marshall Plan allowed the U.S. to give post-war aid to Germany, which helped kickstart the economic recovery. Germany was a key figure in the formation of the State of Israel after World War II, which after the Holocaust left an obligation to invest in the building up of a Jewish community. Turkey is probably the closest Middle Eastern ally, as the Turks make up the largest Asian demographic in Germany, although many of them may or may not also identify as Kurds. But since Kurds don't have a state of their own, they usually go under Turkish passports when immigrating and are documented as such. Their best friends, however, would probably be literally all their neighbors. The thing is, Germany is kind of like Bosnia and Herzegovina,
as long as we don't occupy them.
In which, by default, they kind of get friends based off of the regional alliances. Bavarians get along with Austrians, Baden-Württembergs get along with Switzerland, East Germany has good relations with the Slavic countries, the Rhine states love Belgium, Luxembourg, and France, and the North side loves the Netherlands and Denmark. France, though, is kind of like the trophy wife of Germany, as the two have had an angry start, but then eventually fell in love and worked together beautifully. France is like the beautiful, flashy spokesperson for the EU that stands in the spotlight as Germany stands in the background, managing all the money and logistical work. In conclusion, although Germanic peoples have existed for thousands of years, an actual unified German state didn't appear until kind of recently, and the brief time that they've been around, they've kind of gone through some of the most intense, world-revolutionizing historical events possibly imagined. Yet, they've come out working hard and building their way up to become a world superpower. You gotta give it to them. There's something about the Germans. And with that, final boss level complete. Stay tuned. Another African state Germany has ties to, Ghana, is coming up next.
Okay. I will say this was a good video, so I proved something, I disproved something, and yeah, I give a thumb up, and yeah, I will say, yeah, this was fun, and I will say, this was this video, and we see us in the next video. By the way, link is in the description.